Hello guys and welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for your love, for your support. I appreciate each and everyone that have supported me in this YouTube journey. Thank you so much guys. So guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to sew this beautiful skirt, how to cut and sew this beautiful skirt, so you can see it, so you can pair it up with any beautiful top of your choice. So you can see it is actually a straight skirt, and then the down part is a gathered hem. So that hem is a top stitched gathered hem. So that is what we are going to learn how to do today. So guys, if you find this video helpful, please do not forget to subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends and your loved ones, your soul colleagues. Okay guys, so let's get started. So I actually used about 4 yards, I used 4 yards of fabric for this project. Yes, so this is the beautiful Duchess fabric that I'm going to be making use of. This is 4 yards. It was actually 5 yards. I cut out 1 yard from it. So that's what we are going to learn how to do. The first thing we're going to do is to draft our pencil skirt. So if you notice, you can see that that skirt is a straight skirt. So you make the first line, which is the waist, and then you mark your hip line. So for the hip line I use 8 inches. That's that point that I just marked. I just dotted. And then I'll take the length. I used 16 inches for the length of the short skirt. So I'm just connecting all of these lines together so you can see. So for inquiries, if you want to register for online classes, you want to order a dress from our page, so this skirt is available on any color of your choice, so you can make an order for it. In case you want it, just send us a message on WhatsApp. Okay, so we'll get it ready for you and send and ship to you wherever you are. So the next thing, now you're going to mark your measurement. So I'm marking my hip line measurement. Divide by 4. I used 42 inches. Divide by 4. And then, so I'm just trying to double check and then add my stitching allowance. And then for the hem, I reduced the hem. So for the hem I used about 32 inches for the down part of my hem. Yes, 32, because I don't want it to be too wide. So that is where the beauty will come up. So that is why I did it that way. So the next thing, I'm trying to mark my dart. So I'm taking out just 1 inch of dart for the skirt. So I marked the dart. I came down by 4 inches and then just connected it to take out my dart. Okay, so you can see what I am doing. So at the end of the day, this is just a simple straight skirt pattern that we're going to use. So we use this to cut out both the front and the back. Okay, so the next thing, I'm going to cut this on my lining piece first before I cut. You know that Duchess, it could be slippery. So for the back piece, I added 1 inch of allowance to it, 1.5 to be precise, for the stitch, for the zipper allowance for the back. So this is actually the back piece I cut first, and then so these are both the back and the front piece for the lining piece. So now I'll transfer this. I'll cut it on my fabric now, my main fabric. So after cutting, I'm just going to place the, and then I'm going to stitch the side and the down. So can you see? So I'll sew the down and turn it and then stitch. So you can see this is after stitching, but I did not stitch the top part. So you sew them, just sew everything and turn it and then iron it. So after ironing, this is how it looks like. So like I said, this is a straight skirt. It's a simple process. So I'll take this, and then on my zip allowance part line, I'm going to join that part. That's for the back piece. So I'll join it along that zipper allowance line. So after joining at that zipper allowance, this is how it looks. The next thing, I'm going to take out my full body measurement. So in order for me to take out my full body measurement, I'm going to add my waist measurement. So for the waist, I'm using about 35 inches for the waist. So I'm just trying to check the measurement, to check it in properly before I mark, because this is like the final marking. Okay, so this is the final marking. I don't want to start adjusting and adjusting. So I'm just trying to place it. And then I'll come to the hip line, divide my hip line into 4. I told you, I said I used about 42 inches for the hip. I'll place it that way, divide that into 2. I'll place it and then I'll mark it. And then for the hem, I used 32 inches for my hem. So I'll mark my hem measurements. So I'm reducing the hem. I reduced the hem very well, so that the skirt will be slim at that knee line, that's the top of the knee, because it's above the top. So I'll just connect all of my lines together this way. So, and then I'll go and stitch it and then leave that down part. So after stitching, this is how my skirt look like. So if you see that I'm ripping the skirt at the zip allowance. Yes, you need to open it up. So after opening it up, I came up by 1 inch at that hem of the down part of my skirt. So that is why I stitched it cover, so that it will be neat. So I came up by 1 inch, and then I'm marking that 1 inch. I'm just making a line, because that's where I'm going to stitch the gathers of our skirt. Okay, so after that, I took my piece, my pattern, that's the remaining part of my fabric. So the full length, that's the long length of this, is the full 4 yards. So I cut a lining and then stitched it along the line. But the length that I have here, the length that I have is about 40 inches. You understand? Because the skirt is very long. That's the length is 40 inches, but the width, the wideness, the length, you can see I'm using 4 yards. I use the entire 4 yards. So I'm going to be pleating it now, because that's why I had to turn it with the lining. But the lining is not long. The lining just came down a little bit. I use a lining of like 20 inches. So I said the length of the down part of the skirt is about 30, it's about 35 inches thereabout. So the next thing, I'm just going to be pleating it. I'll pleat it. So because I later reduced it, initially it was longer than that, so I later reduced it. Well, after everything, when I wore it, it was too long, so I had to reduce it. It was now about 35. So you can see the way I am pleating it. So you can see that it is a top pleat. You see, that is why that part you need to sew it and turn it. Another way that you can do that, you can use your industrial hem, if you don't want to put lining, to hem it, and then before you now create those gathers. So you can see, so the next thing, that line that I marked on the skirt, on the straight part of the skirt, that is where I am going to top stitch this. So that is why you see that you need your skirt well sewn, that's cover up everything before you start, and then I'm going to top stitch it along that hem. Okay, so that long 4 yards of fabric, after everything, I gathered it, just you saw it the way I was doing it, and then it came to like 40 inches, which is the length of the down part of my skirt. And then at this point, I'm trying to sew it. You know, the fabric is really bulky. Yes, the fabric is bulky, so I had to start I had to start, what do you call it, I had to start, this thing was cutting thread. That's the word I'm looking for to use. It was cutting thread because it was really bulky. So I was struggling to put the thread inside. So after everything, I finished putting the thread and then I stitched it. So after stitching, you can see what I did. Can you see the down part of my skirt? You notice that this joining, that's the zip allowance, I did not stitch it up to that point. So you can see what I'm trying to do now. Take my zip allowance back now, and then I'm going to go and join it back from the inside. So you can see, so the gathers is top at just before the stitch of the hem of the stitch of the zip allowance. So I'll stitch it close. So after stitching it close, I'll now open it up. You understand? So everything that is remaining, you can see my long piece. So I'm going to now join my long piece from the inside. So you just hold it and then you join it down, and then anything that is remaining, you just use your hand and arrange it at that back. So with that, the is not going to have all those join. So I'll just take it like that. So can you see what I'm trying to do? And then I'll stitch it down to the hem of the skirt, that's the gathered part of the skirt. So I'll stitch it down now. So when I stitch it down, any little excess, you can see the little excess that is remaining, I'll just place it on top and just use my hand to drag them together and then stitch it down. So at the end, you can see the hem ran, that's the top stitch ran round, is not held at any point. You can see how beautiful this skirt looks. So like I said, please, if you find this video helpful, like this video, share it with your friends. Okay, so for the waistline, I'm just going to use a tiny pipe just to pipe it. I'm not doing any distinct waistline. So you can see at the end of the day, this is how the skirt looks on me. It is really beautiful. So like I said, Thank you so much. If you have not subscribed to my channel, subscribe. If you want to order this skirt, you can do that, any color of your choice. So just send us a message. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye. God bless you all. Ciao.